What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLines.com. Let's talk some Thursday night football as the New Orleans Saints head on the road to the Arizona Cardinals. As always, everything we do absolutely free, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Really do appreciate the support here on the channel. Let us know in the comments section as well if there is anything that, however you're playing this game, and if there's anything you think that I miss whenever we run through this. As you see right here, sitting 2.5-3 in favor of the Arizona Cardinals. You can find a 2 even out there. So this is everything from 2 to 3 right now as we record this. 43.5, 44 is your total. Scroll down a little bit. You can take a look at these injury reports for both of these teams, and it's not great, really, for either team. On the Saints side of things, no Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Adam Troutman, Marshawn Lattimore, Andrews Pete, all out for the Saints. Chris Olave did clear concussion protocol, though. He will play for the Saints in this one. Quarterback, hey, your guess is as good as mine. Dennis Allen is going to play it close to the vest. He said he's not going to tell us. So it's going to be a game time decision, whether it's going to be Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton. Everyone thinks it's going to be Andy Dalton, but, again, they did not make that known. Up here on the Arizona injury report, however, Justin Pugh is out. Rodney Hudson's out. 2 starting offensive linemen out for them. James Conner's questionable. They lost Hollywood Brown for several weeks last week. That being said, they are getting back DeAndre Hopkins this week, and they traded for Robbie Anderson. So that is kind of how we look from an injury standpoint over here. It'll be Eno Benjamin would be going for the Cardinals if we can't get James Conner back out there for them. Here's a little Arizona offense versus New Orleans defense. And let's talk a little about this Arizona offense. Kyler Murray, he's averaging a league worst 5.8 yards per pass attempt. If you're wondering, his career average is 7.1. He is 30th with a 2.4% touchdown rate. Under pressure, he's even worse. He is averaging 2.7 yards per attempt. 2.7 yards per attempt under pressure. That is 22 of 58 on the season for 159 yards. So as you can see, Kyler Murray really struggling. That being said, with DeAndre Hopkins on the field last season, he completed 72% of his passes for 8.8 yards per attempt. So massive difference with DeAndre Hopkins on the field as to when he was not on the field. So maybe that is all Kyler Murray needs to at least somewhat make this offense resemble, something that's functional. Maybe the other thing that can help them is this New Orleans defense. The New Orleans defense allowing 7.4 yards per attempt. That is 23rd in the NFL. 11.9 yards per completion, which is 24th. They are also bottom 5 in pressure rate in the NFL. So we talk about under pressure. Kyler Murray has been really bad, 2.7 yards per attempt. That said, the New Orleans Saints defense is a bottom 5 pressure unit when it all comes down to it. So we do have at least that going in this Cardinals offense's favor. Scroll a little bit here. You can see the New Orleans offense versus this Arizona defense. The Arizona defense, the one thing we just know about them, they are going to blitz, and they're going to blitz a ton. They blitz at the 3rd highest rate in all of the NFL. Now that only equals about middle of the pack pressure rate. So they're not always getting home with these blitzes, but they're going to be coming after whether it be Andy Dalton or Jameis Winston. So there is that. We do know that about Arizona. We also know Arizona, for whatever reason, has actually been pretty good against number 1 wideouts, against number 1 receivers, and has done pretty good shutting those guys down. And so now with the de facto number 1 for New Orleans being a rookie as well, you have to think that maybe it could be in for a long day there for Chris Olave, but not something I'm willing to kind of pull the trigger on here. I mean, mainly what we know, New Orleans offense likely to run the ball more, likely to stick with what they are good at, which is running the ball. And if you look, PFF has this Arizona defense at 26th in the NFL when it comes to rush defense. And if you take a look at their average, their early down success rate against teams in general, this Saints squad is going to be going up against the 31st defense in the NFL in early down success. And the reason I bring that up is, look, the Saints, pretty good running team, up against a team that doesn't really stop teams in early downs, and the Saints actually run the ball at the highest rate on early downs in neutral situations of any team in the NFL. So I know we think of these run-heavy teams in the NFL, but like early down situations, the Saints run the ball more than anyone in the NFL on early downs. So there's a lot, that kind of a chess match here of what some of these teams do, what some of these teams do well, what some of these teams do bad, and will it work out for them in all of this? But I mean, it is pretty interesting little chess match we're going to see here. Here's some insights here from Eli over at the site. That said, Eli and I are on different sides here tonight. I did play the Cardinals at 1 when this thing was at 1. It is a situation where I think this is kind of the ultimate buy low spot on a team that I figure is not as putrid as we've seen so far. Now, Cliff Kingsbury is a bad coach. I think he's one of the worst coaches in the NFL, actually. But I don't think Kyler Murray is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. And I don't think DeAndre Hopkins, even though he is on the wrong side of the career arc here, is one of the worst wide receivers in the NFL. I think he actually will bring a spark to this team. Remember, Rondale Moore missed the first few weeks of the season, so he's still getting kind of acclimated into this offense. And, look, you bring in kind of an over-the-top threat in Robbie Anderson to come in and, look, he's probably only going to run routes on 30% of dropbacks in this game because he's not up to speed, but we know what he's going to do. He's going to line up and he's going to run as fast as he can down the field. And that at least, they at least have to account for that and should kind of open up this offense for some of the stuff over the middle and things like that as well. DeAndre Hopkins, where he feasts, and of course, Rondale Moore is got a pretty low ADOT, but very efficient over the middle and stuff as well. So I did buy low here, what I figured to be a buy low spot on Arizona. Now, that being said, they might be terrible. And if they are terrible, then, here's Eli's kind of, if you look on the screen, his reasoning as to why he thinks that the Saints will be able to cover in this one. Now, listen, if you wanted to come to me, we saw a site that, we saw several of these sites still at 2.5. And if you wanted to come to me in a game with a total of, 44, 43.5, 44, and said you wanted to take New Orleans in a teaser leg up from 2.5 to 8.5, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't think I do think Arizona can win this game. I don't think this Arizona offense is in for some sort of eruption game or anything. I certainly don't think that they're going to blow anybody out. So if that's the way you wanted to play this one, I can't fault you for that. I mean, this is likely to be a lower scoring game. And, getting New Orleans, a run-heavy team, as we just mentioned, and likely will be even more run-heavy with the lack of weapons at wide receiver in this one, makes a lot of sense, right, with all of that. So from a total standpoint, it would be an under or nothing for me. It's just, I missed the biggest number. This was at 46 at one point, no longer. At flat 44, I still think there's a tiny bit of value on the under, but not enough for me. Certainly wouldn't play it at 43.5. You got to think 44 being that key-ish number when it comes to totals, a couple of different ways, 24-20, 27-17, things like that. So, that's why 43.5 unplayable for me if we're going to play the under. Let's go over here. Props and DeAndre Hopkins. Listen, let us remember that DeAndre Hopkins was not missing these games due to injury. He is going to come in and he's going to be DeAndre Hopkins. He has been working out. He's been running routes. He's been doing all the things like that. He was suspended for PEDs. He was not injured. So there's been this stuff that I keep reading about DeAndre Hopkins. What if he's not in game shape? He's had nothing to do but run around and work out and all this stuff like that. I mean, that's all he's been able to do. So we're going to get DeAndre Hopkins in this game. So he's going to get peppered with targets. I truly believe this. Now, whether he catches all of them, I don't know, but we're getting plus money on over 5.5 receptions, and we're going to play that because he's going to get double-digit targets in this game. I have a pretty good feeling. And so if that's the case, give me the 6 catches here at plus 120. I will take the over 5.5 for DeAndre Hopkins on receptions. Second here, I typed in Zach Ertz, and if there's a benefit for one player, there's got to be a detriment to another, most likely. And with the reemergence of DeAndre Hopkins and him soaking up so much of the target share Rondale Moore, like I said, I figure will only continue to get more integrated into this offense. They just traded for Robbie Anderson, and now whether he only gets 2 targets in this game or 3 targets, that's still 3 targets that are going elsewhere, right? So I'm playing unders on Zach Ertz. I'm going to split it, though, between the yardage and the receptions because there is a path, I think, to him only catching like 3 balls and still getting over this, just kind of one little breakaway weird thing where he breaks loose and gets a 25-yard catch or something. So I'm playing under on the 45.5 yards. I'm also playing under on the 4.5 catches and just splitting the 1 unit between the 2 on Ertz. And hopefully both of them get home for us in this thing. So think Ertz is going to be the guy that's kind of the, not odd man out, but certainly the guy that feels the presence of DeAndre Hopkins coming in and soaking up the extra targets. Rondale Moore getting more involved. AJ Green still getting a couple of targets in this game. Robbie Anderson getting a couple of targets in this game. Remember, forget about AJ Green as well, right? I mean, he's going to at least get a few targets. Same game parlay, guys. This is kind of the story of the Arizona Cardinals winning. This one, it's kind of a tough one this week from a same game parlay standpoint if you're looking for a big payout because it's just, again, these offenses, you're having to do some assumptions that DeAndre Hopkins is really going to help out what we've seen so far from the Cardinals. So this is a Cardinals win. Kyler's got to throw for 200 yards. He's going to run for 30 as well because if he's dropping back a ton, then there's chances for him to just take off and scramble and things like that or whatever. So over 30 yards for him. Like I said, I figured DeAndre Hopkins is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. So over 60 yards for DeAndre Hopkins. And then if they're going to win this game, they're going to have to score 20 points. And so over 19.5. If they're not scoring over 20 points, they're likely not winning this game. So these are all kind of the correlated plays here. And again, if you wanted a bigger payout, if you wanted to add another DeAndre Hopkins thing in there or something, and just say, okay, well, if DeAndre Hopkins is going to go for 60, then he's also going to get, X amount of catches or something like that, receptions. You could say, okay, he's going to get 6 or more. If you do that, you can bump this thing up to 575 if you wanted to go that route. But 425, 4.5, 4 times your money. Not bad at all. Like I said, so I am on the Cardinals. Listen, at under a field goal still, I don't care that I got the 1. You don't care that I got the 1. At under a field goal, I still think it's playable. At 3, it's pass for sure for me. Like I said, total, I lean under, but only at flat 44, 43.5 unplayable. Too many ways for us to get burned by half a point there. Also, and this is like, if you think that this stays close and whatever, like I do not have a problem with opening up a teaser on the Saints at 8.5. This is, likely to be played within 1 score. And I think probably it goes Arizona's favor, but I think they keep it pretty close. So 8.5 up to the Saints. Also not a bad play, I do believe. And this is probably going to be probably a pretty popular teaser leg. Actually, now that this thing has gotten to 2.5, I think that getting the Saints up to 8.5 will be pretty popular amongst a lot of people that play teasers this week. Guys, everything we do, absolutely free here on the lines, as you know. So please go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Really do appreciate you guys helping us out and supporting the channel. Also, you want to support another channel, here's the Discord. Talking all day long in there, all the sports, all the everything. So be sure, get in there, get involved, and tons of cash giveaways, gift card giveaways, swag giveaways, all that, everything like that. All you got to do is be a subscriber to this channel and then also get in on all that stuff over there at the Discord. So be sure and take advantage of that as well. Guys, appreciate it. Good luck on all your bets here on Thursday night.